Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Bearded Respect, episode number 71.
Who's got their coffee ready?
Oh, I do.
Me too.
Not Mr. Empty Cup.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for coming in tonight. What we got here, Jason?
Oh,
Well, why don't we do our intro first?
yeah.
That's what I meant. That's
Okay.
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 That's what I was talking about.
We'll be right back after this intro video. Hey, everyone.
Hello again.
Hello again is right. So, Jason, you want to start with the hellos?
Yeah. Yes, now we'll get on with this. And I'm sure I'll be corrected if I say this, mispronounce this. But Yahara,
I think you actually got it right.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, everyone.
And then we got Miss BREWCITY, Becky.
What's up, Becky?
Hey, honey.
And then we have Ellie. Hey, Ellie.
What's up, Ellie?
Oh, hello, madam.
And we got 11 Bravo.
Hello there.
Hey.
What's up, 11 Bravo?
Hey.
We got Bearded Vato. Hey, Vato.
Vato.
Hey, brother.
And we got Beards and BS.
Beards and BS. I wonder what the BS stands for.
Size make me mad.
Butterscotch.
Hey, Russ.
What's up, Russ?
No way.
We got Walter. Hey, Walter.
Walter, I hope you're over the Sixers losing.
Hello there, children.
Hey, Chris. True North.
What's up, True North?
Hello.
Official Ken. Aloha.
What's up, Ken?
Are you sure about that?
Good to see you, Matt.
Matt Foley,
Hey, what's up, buddy?
TV.
TV.
Hey, TV.
Greetings, traveler.
Hey, Tyson.
What's up, Tyson?
Hey, Tyson.
I don't have friends. I got family.
I am wearing pants because it's still like, 60s here. So
Yeah, it only got to 68 here today. But yeah, butterscotch, we'll go with that.
okay.
Yeah, we've had the 80s already. Not
Well,
today.
we have, but it was like 76 yesterday, but it was only 68 today, which was nice.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry, Walter. I feel it. I
I'm
had to stop watching after the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks were a lot worse than the Sixers. I mean, geez. Did the Bucks win it all last year? They like dropped like.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't
I'm
know what
happy the
happened.
Nuggets are in it though. I'm really excited.
Hey, Mark.
What's up, Mark? Mark from
Hello.
Idaho.
And we're caught
Hello,
up
911.
now. I think there's more people watching than that said hi. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be more coming in.
Oh yeah.
They're probably still over by the bearded accountant. But
Coffee? Coffee anyone? Indiana in the 90s. Yeah, those Midwest states, man.
oh,
They're wild. Tornadoes, heat waves, hurricanes. No hurricanes.
well, it's got to be a pretty big hurricane for us to see it.
I think we've already had more rain this past like month than the past 2 years.
oh, wow.
Like everything is green here. It is so wild. We even had a little like land funnel yesterday with a storm.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me mute this while my dog barks.
I was going to say, was that your dog, Mike?
Well, I don't think it's mine.
Yeah.
I have a cat that thinks he's a dog. I haven't heard him bark yet. Well, why don't we just go ahead and bring our guest on from the Bearded Sergeant Coffee Company.
Yes.
Gentlemen.
Welcome, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming
Scott,
on.
Mike, Jason. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Awesome. And as you can see, everyone, he is a bearded guy, a bearded sergeant, and he makes coffee.
It kind of goes with the territory.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about yourself. What is this company?
Well, in a
about
nutshell, we are the Bearded Sergeant Coffee Company. We're located in Northeast Arkansas in a little town called Jonesboro. We are veteran owned and operated, and we import beans from Costa Rica. We roast them here locally, and we sell online and business to business. But something really cool we also get to do is we donate a portion of our profits to Homes for Our Troops. And they are a nonprofit that builds and donates custom adapted homes to severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Super cool group of guys. I'm sure that we can talk a lot more about them too. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Cool.
Okay, I guess that's it. Show's up.
When did your
Ironically, I don't
Tiffany
have coffee.
start?
Yes, guys.
Did you just open this year, or have you been open for a while?
Yes, we just opened in February. Matter of fact,
Oh, okay.
February 5th of this year. My wife was the Yahira. She's actually Costa Rican. You pronounce her name Jahida. I know, but it's pronounced Jahida. Yeah.
Okay.
She is in the back with the kiddos cheering me on right now.
Yeah.
How many kiddos?
We've got two. I've got a 7-year-old son named Luke, who I think you saw in the intro with our blue heeler Tucker. And we have a 5-year-old daughter named Sophia.
Cool.
Yeah,
And it looks like we have a fan in the chat.
Adam Carmichael.
Adam is a dear friend, and he is right. My coffee is awesome. So
Wow,
the the story goes like this, right? I was managing Northeast Arkansas a few years ago for Xerox, and I read a book or listened to an audiobook rather, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And it totally changed my life. I realized that I'd been doing everything wrong. Where, really wealth is more, I think, about freedom than just dollar bills. Now dollar bills buys freedom, but the point of it is really freedom. And so we were already homeschooling our kids, and we decided, hey, if we built a business that just requires a laptop, or that we can put management eventually in place that doesn't require us to be stuck in one spot, that would allow us to do some really cool things. My wife's family's in Costa Rica. We want to spend some time there. And hey, if we wanted to go study geology for a month, we could just pick up and go to the Grand Canyon. And all I need is my laptop, and we've got the structure in place, and, we can do what we want. And at the time, I was building a company called smarterkidgames.com. And we were manufacturing Montessori beadboard games for children. It's this really neat analog wooden board with these wood pellets, with these wood beads. And there's different ways you can stack them and learn shapes and geometry. And it's a low stimulant, designed to get the screens out of the kids' hands. Well, unfortunately, this was like the November. We were getting this ramped up the November before COVID hit, and my games were manufactured in Wuhan, China.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
So one near miss with bankruptcy later. I couldn't get that. We still have the business, but the doors are shut right now because we got to find a different spot to get the games made.
Yeah.
And so I knew, I'd learned a lot from e-commerce. My background was in sales and marketing, and man, I knew I wanted something kind of along that lines. And I got the idea of coffee. I bumped into a friend of mine, just kind of at the right place at the right time. And he was looking for a new adventure. And I said, hey, I've got this idea with this, coffee company. And I'm just, I was actually going by his shop to just visit him and check out his new office. And he's like, hey man, I'm looking for my next thing. Let's do it. And so we dove in, and a few months later, we've got the Bearded Sergeant.
Wow.
Cool.
Well, it sounds like you got it pointed in the right direction.
We hope so, man. We hope so. If not, at least I got some great coffee to drink.
Yeah. Now, do you have like some sort of direct connection with the where you're getting the beans, the farm from where you're getting the beans from?
We do not. That's a great
No, okay.
question. We use a broker to get our beans.
Okay.
And I would really love to be able to go down there and get beans directly from farms. That would be a lot of fun, but that's kind of its own business in itself, for a number of reasons. If you do, eventually we'll want to have a single source coffee. That's something neat to have, but you've got to charge a lot more for a bag, and there's risks involved. The farmer has a particularly bad season. There's a drought. Bugs come in and wipe out his crop or something like that, and that's your only source for those beans, you're in trouble. So I consulted with some people that were in the industry, and we really got a good broker that really knows his beans are all ethically sourced, and so that's where we want to start and kind of build our foundation. And then by late, I've actually got a line on a farm in Kona, Hawaii, which would be really cool to bring some beans in from there, maybe later this year or early next year, because I'd have to charge like $25, $28 a bag. And for the people that know what that is, that's no big deal. But for your normal coffee drinker, that's a bit to cough up. So, we want to kind of bring a premium product to the masses first before we work on something that's really niche.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Jason?
Jason.
60-cent king.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah. So I guess I just found your company by luck. I was looking for bearded companies, and yours popped up on Instagram, I guess, just at the right time because you had just started your business. So I ordered from you and tried it out. I'm more of a dark roast type of drinker. And this is like a medium roast or light
This would be a
roast.
light roast, what you
Light
tried.
roast. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's so smooth. Like it
Mhm.
didn't get me amped up like most light roasts do. I definitely love South American beans more than like the African beans. I think the African beans are more a little bit amped up, but yeah, for a light roast, this was awesome. Coming from a dark roast guy.
Yeah, that's I came up in the coffee culture, kind of the military coffee culture, where if you stab a fork in it and it doesn't
Right.
stand
Oh,
straight
yeah.
up, it's not for me. But
Yeah.
it didn't take but when I first met my wife, the first trip to Costa Rica that we made, I learned what real good coffee was about. It didn't take me long to realize it's actually, to do a good light roast, you need a better quality bean because you can't add poor quality with over roasting it. And the light roast, you taste a little bit of that natural sweetness around the bean from the berry that grows there. It's got a real light acidity, it's easier on your stomach, and it has actually a pretty decent caffeine content. The more you roast your beans, the more the caffeine content drops. That's why you drink a dark roast in the evening, and your breakfast blends are light roasts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's I've kind of been spreading the gospel of light roast because most people just want dark roast because not speaking to you directly, but I find that a lot of people drink dark roast because they think it has the most caffeine and they think it's like stronger the better.
Absolutely right.
But it's just
You're absolutely right.
flavor.
Yeah.
And if you want to really get the actual flavor of the coffee, the metric that I keep up with, how many people that I convert from drinking cream and sugar to black coffee. And since February, I've converted 12 people to drinking
Nice.
just black coffee from cream and sugar. That's like a notch on your belt when you're a coffee entrepreneur.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so but we're running just the light roast right now. The one Costa Rican bean. In July, we're going to bring on a medium roast, and the only reason we haven't done that is because I cannot decide whether it's going to be from Ethiopia or Colombia, and they're both really good. And then we're looking at by October having a dark roast in. So Mike, you'll be
nice
set by October.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I've met so many people that I even educate them on like, yeah, light roast is more caffeinated, dark roast is less.
Yep.
For me, dark roast, it's just the taste of the dark roast I like. It's not the caffeine content.
Yeah, that real rich, kind of nutty. Yeah. And you should love black. You should love a Black Rifle because they over roast their coffee.
Yeah, I do drink Black Rifle.
I'm allowed to punch up. I'm the little guy,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. We'll never go on CNN and stick our foot in our mouth. I promise, guys.
Now, as everybody here knows, besides you, Chris, I do not drink coffee.
Well, Jason, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, okay. Now my wife drinks coffee, and I did learn that on a previous show that the lighter the roast, the more caffeine. So I had to inform her of that. She didn't know that either. So
yeah,
but yeah, I might have to buy her a bag and let her try it.
For sure.
Yeah,
does she have a Keurig machine? Does she do the K-Pod or?
Well, she has a combination machine, and
Okay.
she has a Keurig that she can put ground in a little cup itself instead of using K cups, because when she uses a K cup, it's not really enough for her.
She should try
So,
RK cups. RK cups are really awesome. They have about 40% more coffee than a normal pod does in them. They have 14 grams instead of 10 grams.
Okay.
And the lid functions as its own CO2 vent. Carbon dioxide is what makes the coffee go stale. And so that vents the carbon dioxide out, and it's got a better filter in it. Like, all this techie stuff means that it's a better, stronger cup of coffee out of a K-Pod. So maybe worth giving them a shot.
Yeah. Now I have another question. I noticed on your website you got whole bean, you got coarse, medium, and then
The fine.
Fine.
Espresso. Yeah. What is normal coffee? Is it coarse or medium?
Well, that's if you're wanting to make your coffee in just a normal coffee maker, you would want a medium grind.
Okay.
Yep. And then, or if you're doing a pour over with a traditional pour over, with a metal filter or a paper filter, if you guys are doing that, you'll know who you are. You need a medium grind. You can, if you're doing a pour over with a cloth, like a traditional Costa Rican, you can get away with a fine. Really, our fine grind is more for espresso machines. And then coarse would be for if you're doing a French press.
Okay.
Yep. French press is super easy way to make coffee, and it's fantastic. So if you guys haven't played around with that, you can get a press for like $15 at Walmart.
Right.
Awesome. Another good tip, if you're using a normal coffee maker, listen up, guys. This is gold right here. Because a lot of people just use their Mr. Coffee, whatever normal maker for your coffee. The problem is you need your water to be between 195 and 205 degrees. That's the sweet spot. If it's hotter, it's going to burn your coffee. If it's cooler, then it's going to make the coffee stale. Well, the cooler is the problem with your normal coffee machines. They don't quite get the water hot enough. So what you do is you put a pot on your stove and you boil your water first. And then you pour the boiling water into the coffee machine. Make sure it's already ready to go because it's going to start perking instantly. And that will get all your water ran through at the proper temperature. And you will notice an improvement in the quality of the coffee in any cheapo coffee maker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd never, like, I've always thought, you had to put cold water in for it to taste right. Like,
no.
If you put hot water in and then it heats it, I don't know why I always thought that, but
you don't want to put water out of your hot water heater into your coffee maker because then you're getting. Sorry if I'm moving around.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that in and out, but you don't want to put water out of your hot water heater because then you're going to get a lot of mineral buildup.
That's what it is. Okay.
There's a ton of minerals in there. So if you really want to get nerdy, use distilled water. I use filtered water, right?
That's you, Scott.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, we run the coffee ministry at our church, and that's what I use for those guys. But for me, I've got like a Berkey or the Alexa Pure filter. I think I just run that through to get the minerals out, and that'll get you 99% there, or close. I'm sure somebody in the comments will have the exact percentages for us, right?
So I have a bun coffee maker, so it's like always hot.
Yeah, those are pretty handy. I like those.
So that's good to use then.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I use. But I put cold water in it because that's not what I'm getting. I'm getting the hot water. It's
preheating the water and then running it through the steamer that turns it into, it blows it up into steam. Yeah. I'm not a coffee maker engineer, but just a quick disclaimer. Well,
so Garrett, you cold brew your French press. How long do you let it sit? Because I have like a cold brewer, and like it takes like 24 hours, like to fully.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I have never done cold brew, Garrett. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I've done cold brew in the fridge, and normally about 24 hours.
Yeah.
So the machine looks like a French press, kind of, right? Or it's basically
a French press. Yeah, it is. It's just larger. It's like a gallon size, probably.
Yeah, interesting.
Not gallon, but
I accidentally bought one instead of a French press one time, but I didn't ever sit down and experiment with it. What's the difference between cappuccino and regular coffee? A cappuccino is just what you're adding to the coffee. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an expert on sugary, milky coffee drinks, but my wife, Jahida, could sure tell you quick. I think cappuccino is just coffee and milk, and I think it's more milk than coffee, if I'm not mistaken.
That's where they do all those designs and stuff in it.
Yep. If you want to know, thank you, baby. If you want to know my preferred way to make a cup of coffee, my favorite way is a Costa Rican pour over, and that's a cloth sock method. It's a wooden frame that holds a cloth sock over your cup.
Hmm.
It allows you to run a little bit finer grind on your coffee, and yeah, that's my kick. If I'm making just one cup, that's what I'll do. And if I need to make a couple of cups for me and the wife, I'll do a French press.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excuse me one moment.
And Matt Foley says here, nitro brew is good as well.
That's something else I haven't messed with. It uses nitrogen gas, right?
Yeah, I've gotten them before at like Starbucks, but
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
never
man.
made them myself.
Starbucks is another company that horribly over roasts their coffee. Very bitter. Yeah, I was talking smack about Black Rifle. I was actually in Midland, Texas a couple of months ago. And so I stopped at their I had to stop at their store. Best stores in the business, man. Their coffee and creamer bar is the tailgate of a Humvee. And they've even got the taillights working on it. It's awesome. For whatever reason, though, their coffee is over roasted, guys. So, that surprised me. But hey, I'm a little guy, so I get to talk some smack. They give me some ammunition for Twitter. But they're a good group of guys, honestly. And, we got a lot we can get behind with those guys, too. They support some great causes. But my coffee's better.
Yeah, Black Rifle, I mean, definitely that's probably a goal of yours, to get as big as them. They just blew up. Like,
they did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
The owner, I've heard the owner on Joe Rogan podcast a couple of times. I mean, he was a soldier. He made coffee over there and overseas and came home and started a company.
Yeah, I've seen some of the old videos of him over. I think he was in Afghanistan, and he had his little Turkish the turkey coffee they make with a percolator, like the little small percolators, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a video of him on a tailgate of a Humvee boiling up water to make him some Turkish coffee or something. I wish I would have known about good coffees when I was out in the field, because I drank a lot of GI coffee.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Rough.
I mean, when I was in the Army, it was Folgers. Like, that's all I drank. I bought Folgers.
Or the bag with the national serial number on it, NSN.
Right. Or in the MRAs, I think we had, the instant.
Yeah.
The instant coffee.
Yeah, the Folgers, the MRE had the Folgers instant coffee. I could never bring myself to drink that. That was you want to hear something funny? In Costa Rica, it's an absolute status symbol to drink instant coffee.
Oh
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, man. My mother-in-law, every time we go, she's like, "Oh, please bring us some instant coffee. It's so expensive here." And I'm like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me,
wow.
man. What are you doing?"
That's interesting.
Yeah,
And that's not good for you, right? Like, there's something chemically different with instant coffee, I think.
Is there really?
It's been a long time.
I
I just thought it tasted horrible.
I think I heard that at one time. I mean, the preservatives in it, like how it's made, I don't think it's good.
Comment section.
It's way too processed.
I don't know. I used to get this stuff, Forsomatic, which was actually mushroom coffee. And I'd get that in like
Forsomatic.
instant pouches.
Yeah. Good stuff. Real good stuff. There's a lot with the medicinal mushrooms, man. You can go down a really big rabbit hole with like the reishi and the lion's mane.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, really, really amazing stuff. I take some mushroom tinctures like that every day myself. I do turkey tail and lion's mane and reishi.
Yeah, I used to put lion's mane in my coffee. I stopped though and went to just the capsules.
Yeah. I can't put anything in my coffee, man. It's like putting A1 on a steak,
Right.
Well, yeah, and every time I bring up the someone that I drink mushroom coffee, they look at me funny.
I think that's really, people are really starting to learn about that, though. They're really starting to figure it out. Yeah, it's really good stuff. People are starting to care more about longevity. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I ain't getting any younger.
Right.
For sure.
Now, JP has any opinions on this Chemex method of brewing coffee? Now, I don't brew coffee. I don't even know what that is. So,
Is that pronounced Chemex?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, CHEMEX.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like a French press, but you shake it around in your cup. If that's what you're talking about, I've just seen a video, but I haven't even spoken to anybody yet that's tried it. But I could be mistaken.
I think Chemex is actually a brand of pour over.
Oh,
It's like a glass.
Yeah. I think I've got. I use their competitor.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have the real fancy wooden insulated handle, and then the ones I got the cork.
Black Rifle actually does sell some of them.
Okay. I need to get something like that on my website. We want to have some supplies like that. But the glass pour overs are great. You need to use a medium grind if you use the metal filter, especially because the finer grinds will clog it up a little. I like the paper filters that you just drop in better. But yeah, that's a great way to do a pour over. If you don't want to mess with the sock and stuff, that's that's a preferred way. And it's a great way to do a pour over if you need 2 or 3 cups. Like I said, my wife and I run the coffee ministry at our church. We have this great church. It's about 80 to 90 people show up on a Sunday morning. And so we're just the right size to where we can have like two or three French presses and a pour over, and like everybody gets a special coffee. It's really, really neat.
Nice.
So, but yeah, and I think it starts with a B. I cannot remember the brand right now. But it's the competitor to Chemex. What's better, pour over or French press? Man, I think a pour over is better in that I have zero scientific evidence to back that up. It's just personal opinion. Yeah, but they both yield a fantastic cup. Just the thing is to make sure you get the right grind size, right? So if you're doing a pour over, make sure you get a medium grind. And if you're doing a French press, make sure you get a coarse grind. And you can't go wrong. 4 minutes is the magic time with the French press, by the way. Let it sit 4 minutes, then plunge it out. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Nicholas E. He was asking who the guest was. He missed the beginning of the show. So it's the Bearded Sergeant Coffee Company.
That's right. My name is Chris Hennick, which is irrelevant. The big part is the coffee company.
So how did you get hooked up with this organization that you donate your funds to?
Well, we knew this was this is something that I wanted to include in the company. I wanted to. I told my business partner Stephen, I said, if we do this, I want to be able to put a portion of our profits to something that really matters. I had kind of 2 things that I wanted. Either I wanted to help out wounded vets, or I wanted to go hunting for child predators, for child trafficking. Right. I wanted to support one of those 2 causes. So I was just doing my homework and stumbled across Homes for Our Troops through that research. And, we had about 5 different charities that kind of made the finals, and then we narrowed it down, and they were the ones that turned out to be the winner. I'm kind of the sales and marketing guy. Stephen is more of the numbers guy, and he's an accountant by trade and bookkeeper by trade. So he was doing the back end vetting on all their numbers, and I was talking to the people, and Homes for Our Troops just kind of hit it on the right spots. And I think they've built over 350 homes. They have some homes in Arkansas, really close to us, that are projects getting spooled up. And I think they have 100 people on their waiting list. And they do a lot more than just build and donate a home too. They stick around for 3 years after the home is completed. And the veteran that is awarded the home is taken through a whole program on homeowner education. They provide a warranty on the home. And also they for 3 years, they do like a budgeting program where they help make sure that the, you know, well, just basic checkbook balancing isn't something that we've been taught a lot in society recently. I
Right.
say recently, like the last several decades. It's not something that, and it's something very important. So they want to make sure that you know, the veteran's financially sound and that he can afford and keep the home. And so they do. They help them out with financial planning and all kinds of other stuff like that. So it really is like the whole package. It isn't just, hey, here's your home, good luck. You know, they really care about what they do. And another thing that Stephen was able to verify is that really they're 90 cents on the dollar goes toward their homes. And over the course of their life since 2004, they're almost right at that 90 cent over the entire period on the dollar going toward the charity, which is pretty tough to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Definitely.
Cheers, Ken.
Yeah. So Ken, he's a Navy veteran, Navy retired. We definitely have quite a few veterans in the chat.
Navy veteran, man. I love the Army, guys. I love it, but I sold myself short. I'll admit, I should have flown jets off an aircraft carrier or helicopters, or, you know, I tell everybody, if you're going to go in, you got one chance in your life to fly jets off a boat, fly jets upside down, or fly helicopters that can shoot missiles. Do that first. And then if you want to crawl through the mud or whatever, you can do that later. But you got one shot to do that. Yeah. My son asked me, he's like, Dad, why didn't you fly jets or something? And I said, to be honest, son, nobody else told me I could, but I could have, you know? So, oh man, it would have been pretty cool.
Oh,
we lost you. There you go.
Oh,
back.
there
we go. Are we back? All right.
That's interesting though, that little cat. There's like a little cat on your screen.
Oh, that's the app that I'm using for my camera, I think.
Yeah. I've tried that one before. I recognized it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not having the best of luck with it. We're gonna go with a different one next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Matt, you had a cool job, buddy.
Yeah, he's also Navy vet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So my nephew, he flies Chinooks. I'm just like so proud of him. Like I can't believe he did this. But yeah, he's in the Army flying Chinooks.
I got to ride in one.
I never owned one. I have Blackhawks, but not the Chinooks.
Are we there?
Okay.
Yeah, he's still here.
All righty. Yeah, the Chinooks are very fast. Surprisingly, I mean, they're geared up to carry a lot of weight, you know. But when you just put a couple of platoons in them, the power to weight ratio is still really high. And so we got extracted out of a field problem when I was stationed in Fort Eustis, Virginia. We were in a field problem for a week, and that just kind of as a surprise, the battalion commander hooked us up and we took us out to a clearing on patrol. And we're sitting there waiting on school buses to show up. And out of nowhere, a couple of Chinooks come buzzing over the tree lines. I mean, it was a great moment. We're wore out. You know, It's been a cold, long, hard week. And we got a Chinook ride back to base. It was great. But the rate that they take off and accelerate is very surprising. I mean, they're very powerful machines for their size. So cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're ugly as hell, but they're definitely...
Yeah,
they're all rotor and motor, man.
Yeah, I think it's the oldest helicopter in use.
It's the fastest, believe it or not.
Wow,
yep. Faster than an Apache.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that, man.
That's another incredible platform. The Apaches, how they can sneak up on you. You really, if they're flying right up next to you, you don't hear them until you're parallel with the exhaust almost. But we would get. I was in Iraq, OIF 78 with the 875th at that point I was in the National Guard, and we were combat engineers. So we were tasked with route clearance, and we were driving the MRAPs, the big Buffaloes and RG-31s and 32s, the V-hold vehicles, right? Now, when you're in a convoy like this, you're going really slow, under 10 kilometers an hour. And because you're obviously looking for bombs on the side of the road. Well, this makes you basically a rolling ambush. You know, everybody knows where you are. Everybody knows you're coming. And so the Apache pilots figured this out too. And they're looking for action over there, right? So we would be on mission. And now I was a mechanic that did recovery mainly. So I worked on the vehicles that they blew up. And then when they blew something up, I got in my big up armored record and went out and recovered it and drug it back. But I also volunteered to go on some missions. And typically I would drive the Humvee that's called a crow's truck. And what that is a Humvee that's up armored, and it's got a turret on top with a 50 caliber on it, but it's remotely controlled by the gunner that sits right behind me. He's got a joystick and a screen, and he's got access to thermal vision, night vision, and a really, really good optic. And, you know, I'm sure a couple, you two guys have shot the M250 cal platform. If you can hold it still, it's remarkably accurate. Just some really cool stories with that platform. But anyways, so I was on mission several times, either in recovery or driving the crow's truck. And you would have a couple of Apaches that would hook up with our convoy and know that we're route clearance. And each one we'd have one on each side, and they would go from the tail to the front of the convoy, just almost dancing like a ballerina. Go up, slowly turn around, and then they'd go back down. And it was pretty awesome to get to see those guys dancing around.
Yeah.
They're very effective too. Getting rid of the bad guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Man, that crow's truck. So the crow's truck with the turret, I'll tell you a quick story about this. We were having a problem when we first got there. The bad guys were hitting us with these little rockets. I think they were 70-something millimeter Egyptian or Iranian. I can't remember exactly, but they were using pieces like a 3 or 4 foot long piece of galvanized pipe to launch them out of. And they could just hit us really easy. It was a shape charge. It was kind of like a miniature RPG. So it wouldn't do a lot of damage, but it would punch a hole clean through our armor about the diameter of your finger. Which is a costly repair. It takes a lot of time to repair that armor. And so when we got the Crow's system in, it had really, really good thermal optics. So the first time that they launched one of those rockets at us, the gunner swung around and saw that galvanized piece of pipe glowing like a Christmas light in his thermal optics. And they learned that after that one night, we never got any more of those again. They learned real quick that we could see them.
Yeah.
It is coffee time. Actually, it's a little late for coffee. We're doing a good Caribbean rum tonight.
Nice.
That works.
Yeah. I think I have some Guatemala rum somewhere.
Guatemalan. This is Flora de Caña 25. This is very special. My wife brought this back from Costa Rica the last time. But this is from Nicaragua, and it is a highly recommended rum. You don't even need ice. It's so smooth. If you want a good Costa Rican, look at Centenario. It's probably the smoothest rum I've ever had. Oh, Centenario rum. It's like butter. Good stuff.
Zacapa?
There you go.
Ron Zacapa. Have you ever had that?
I have never had that,
No.
but that looks like a good one.
Yeah, it's okay.
In the rum world, anything over 12 years old is pretty good.
Yeah.
You start to get pretty smooth. I quickly turned into a coffee and a rub snob after I married a Costa Rican. It didn't take too many trips down there.
I'm a big Captain Morgan's fan. That's mine.
Oh, yeah. You need to try Centenario then.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Puddles and rubble.
Yeah. Fleer is very effective.
Yeah.
Very effective.
So how long have you been married, and how did you meet your wife?
Got married in 2014. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time, and I met her at a Sunday school party. I'm not gonna lie. She's I'm 38 and she's 39 at the time, and I almost didn't go up to her and talk to her because I thought she was in the youth group. She was just a stunner. Like I didn't want to be a creepy guy going up to an 18-year-old. I swear, promise. So we hit it off really well. I talked to her and obviously realized that she was in her 30s and an adult, and she's just a very beautiful woman. And so we hit it off, flirted all night. It was great. And at the end of the night, beautiful evening on Lake Norman, right on the lake. I asked her out on a date. She shot me down. Yep. And so my friend, me feeling dejected, walking off in a moment of wisdom, my friend went over and got her number anyways and said, "Hey, you're a cool girl. Let's just all hang out." So he gave me her number, and it just turned out right. She was dating somebody at the time that was had intentions of breaking up with her at the time. I mean, it was God just laid everything out just right for me to meet my wife at the perfect time, and so yeah, 6.5 months later, we were married.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
wow!
Yep. Hey, I was, guys, when you get to that age, we got a late start, and I was a fool. When I was younger, I said I'm going to live my life in my 20s, and then I'll settle down later, and not realizing that marriage and family are the most important thing. That's what really matters, and it's way more
Right.
important than partying and stuff.
Right.
And so, when you get that age, that your options start to dry out real fast, but also at the same time, you know what you want.
Mhm.
You could go on a date, and in 15 minutes, you're nah, no,
Right.
not even close.
Right.
So I knew I wanted I wanted a good woman that was going to be a good wife and mother, and that could to join me to grow a biblically based family. And God was really generous and gave her to me, and I don't deserve her. She's more than I deserve for sure. So I'm a blessed man.
Yeah, my wife and I, we got married after 6 months of dating, and
Yeah.
we're on year 24. So we did
Nice. Nice.
we made the right selection. But official Ken's got a question. I guess his wife's family is from Barra del Colorado.
Oh, my wife's family is from Alajuela, and it is a suburb just north of the capital city, San Jose. Matter of fact, if you fly into San Jose Airport, you're actually flying into Alajuela.
Hmm.
Beautiful, though. If you guys have never been to Costa Rica, man, let me tell you, it's great.
I've heard it's beautiful there. I've never been there.
The Central Valley has some of the best weather in the world. It's like mid 70s to mid 80s with low humidity year round. Nobody. The first trip I went to Costa Rica, we ate at one restaurant that had exterior walls. Everything's just a roof, and it's not because it's a poor third world country. They're pretty good, but it's just because the weather is so nice. There's no bugs, and you don't need it. My wife's uncle, I'm almost certain I'm getting that connection right. My wife's uncle is a retired judge. He lives in a very affluent community there, gated, nice houses. None of them have air conditioners.
Yeah.
You don't need it. Yeah.
No bugs.
So you go down, no bugs. So you go down by the Pacific, close to the coast. It gets a little warmer, but it's like Southern California with warm water. So very low humidity. The water is just perfect, man. It's every time I go, my biggest problem is coming back. For sure. Great fishing. You go up to the North Pacific side, and it's just awesome offshore fishing for like tuna and mahi. You go out, you catch a big 50 or 60 pounder, they dress it up, and then you go out to town and take it to the restaurant, and the restaurant owner cooks it for you right there. And
Wow.
Yeah, it's great, man. Highly recommend you guys going.
I didn't notice it when I looked at it, but JP's pointed this out with the course. Because isn't OU like a college course? And OA?
He entirely could be correct. I'll have to go double check that. It could have been just like a spell check thing, or it may have been a paragraph that I voiced to texted out that just I didn't catch. But that's a good catch, JP. We'll get on that one. This is the way.
Yes.
Ask JP what he thought of season 3 of The Mandalorian. See if he cringes a little bit. I couldn't make it past episode 3, man. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. I don't know what they did, but that they've lost their way. Oh no! Look at that. Nice. Wow.
Yeah, I kind of like them.
That is an episode 1 release poster, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I grew up with it, and recently, thanks to Kathleen Kennedy, have found a new love for the prequels. But gosh, man, yeah. You're right, JP.
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched the
Don't.
season 3 yet.
Just
I'll eventually do it, but
have you seen Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I have not.
Don't.
I did watch Andor though, and I loved it.
Okay, I heard Andor was good,
Yes.
and I haven't watched it yet, but I need to put that on my list. It's like the
Andor
one
is
good
really
thing. Yeah. If you want to watch Obi-Wan though, just watch Robot Head's review of it, and you'll be way more entertained. I promise.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not the way. Yeah, I thought Andor was done really well, and then right after finishing that, I had to watch Rogue, just to kind of connect it.
Oh, is that right before Rogue One?
Yeah,
I liked Rogue One. That was good. That was a good movie. Well,
yeah, and it's the same characters, like it's the same actors.
Oh, was it? Okay, I gotta get on that bandwagon then.
Yeah,
I've been hurt, man. I've been hurt.
Yeah, you're just watching the wrong ones.
I guess so. But yeah, I hope they get that ship righted because there's so much possibility for good stories there. You know.
Yeah. What's up, Philip?
That's kind of funny conversation for today,
Ellie is
being
right.
that it's the 46th anniversary of Star Wars.
Yeah, that's right.
Today.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yep. Came out in theaters May 25th, 1977.
Yep.
I was 2, so I didn't get to see it in the movie theater.
I did, but I was pretty young.
Yeah, you're like a teenager, man.
No, I was 5. A teenager. Not that old.
Jason, were you into Star Wars growing up?
Not as much as my cousins were, but I mean, I liked the first 3 movies. I liked them, and then
Definitely.
Yeah.
after that, I mean, there was such a time span between the next one and stuff, and I got lost, because chronological to release date, that just,
Yeah.
I liked the first 3, and I loved the old original Indiana Jones. That's like
absolutely.
a lot of the stuff that we watch.
Before the editing. Before the edited version.
Yep. I may have borrowed from someone that sells the 7 Seas a copy of the original Star Wars that it's unedited.
Oh yeah.
Redone, and then the Indiana Jones, the original.
Yeah.
Some stuff I think some stuff doesn't need to be an ultra HD. Some stuff needs to just maybe leave a little room for your imagination to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was part of the magic.
Or them slipping like a Jabba the Hutt in the original Star Wars. And
Oh Lord.
every time I see that, I cringe.
What's up, Aldemir? Hey, Chris just threw something up there. I didn't get it. Where is it?
My mom was 11. It's like,
Chris,
now you're making me feel old.
what's the opposite of coffee? Sneezing.
Yeah.
Chris is our local comedian.
Achoo. Achoo. Achoo.
All right.
Achoo.
Oh.
Okay, so Mike,
But-
you were a medic, right?
Yes.
And were you active Army?
Yes. Active duty. Yep.
When did you serve?
97 to 2004.
Okay, you went a year in before me, so you're a BDU bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I had to learn how to work some stay flow, polish those boots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Ah,
Yeah.
man, those Joes today, they just don't know.
I know.
Discipline, wrinkled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. Yeah, I loved my desert boots because I didn't have to shine them, you know.
I did at the time, but then when we went to the ACU, I kind of missed having to shine my boots. I had a good system down. I had my Cochrane A's that I kept spit shined, and then after formation, I'd change out. But you know, it was good discipline. You didn't need to do it in the field. You didn't need to do it in the combat. But I think there was a place for it in garrison.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Ellie, I probably knew him.
Yeah, I wore
Yeah.
jungle boots a lot.
Yeah, jungle boots
Jungles.
were the coolest. Like
Yep.
those
Yep.
green black ones. Those
Yep.
were the best. Those were.
I had a custom pair of green top jump boots made in South Korea. You could like in 01 to 0102, you can have a custom fitted pair of boots made for like $100, like
Yeah.
$90. They're great. I had the jump boot toe, the green top. I was going in the National Guard. I got everything against the regulations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Scott, you are, if I remember correctly, Scott, you were in like Desert Storm, Desert Shield, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right, the old sand. So you
Oh,
probably appreciate a lot of our branding. That's my favorite camo is the chocolate chip desert camo.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It's just the right amount of nostalgia. Yeah. So we
Yeah,
use that a lot
definitely.
in our branding. This is DCU. This is the hat I was issued at Bright Star 99 2000. We didn't get the chocolate chips. We got the next version. But, something like that.
This would be. Yeah, this would be the.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. DCU.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I
Hey,
remember
so
going
the
from the.
tattoo-
It was a shot going from like the forest green to the sand.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Well, when I went over, half our company didn't even have the desert. They were wearing green.
yeah. A lot of people when OIF first kicked off, they were over there with black boots in DCUs.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember seeing that on the news going, those guys are suffering. Well, actually, if you remember, like the first 2 years of OIF, everybody was in MOP 3 or MOP 4 or MOP 3 all the time. And like we were like the last, if you went in 97, kind of the last of the Cold War era basic training right at the tail end there, because when September 11th hit, it all changed. Basic training all changed. But
Yeah, absolutely.
everybody was walking around in MOP 2. MOP 2 is without your helmet and your
Right.
look. I was watching that from the news, knowing, going, oh, those poor souls, man. Golly. Okay, so if I'm speaking lingo here, I'm sorry if anybody doesn't know, the MOP suit is an additional layer or additional suit that we put on in the military that protects from chemical warfare. And so you got rubber gloves, you got the gas mask, but you've got the suit that's like this thick charcoal lined suit.
Yep.
And it doesn't breathe. And it's
no.
not light tan. It's green. And man, yeah, if you're in the desert, you're sucking wind having to wear that. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, the first guys over there, they got a lot of respect. But Scott, were you in the Hail Mary move, the big Western flank in Storm? Where
Yeah.
were you at when that went down? Were you really?
Yeah, way on the end, but yeah.
Man, the greatest tank battle in history, some say. That's really cool. Not a lot of footage of that exists because there was a bad dust storm at night and it was all
Yeah.
blacked out. Yeah. Dang, man, that's cool.
What's crazy is when I went there in 2003, like we were like the initial invasion and seeing everything that was left over from the first Desert Storm that Scott left there.
That I love.
Right downtown Baghdad. It's like right in the city, like this old, Abrams. Like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Scott, you're the representative for that Gulf War.
There you go.
You left
I
it there.
know.
And were you in Baghdad, Mike?
No, so we were trucked up to Baghdad with our mechanized unit, and then we covered everything north of Baghdad. So we hit Balad, Samara,
Okay.
up to Kirkuk and Tikrit. Kirkuk and Tikrit is kind of like where we ended up.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year, but yeah.
Okay. We operated out of Balad.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was probably a whole different Balad by the time I got there. It was very garrisoned. It was actually
we were the first ones there when we got there. So,
funny, it was actually a source of contention with us because it was a couple of us National Guard units that were combat active, and then on the other side of the strip there was a bunch of SF guys, and pretty much we were the only units going outside of the wire. Everything else was what we affectionately like to call a fobbit, and that is just an office staff that never gets. A fobbit is a colloquial metaphor with a little bit of animosity tossed in. It's typically a soldier that has a staff job that doesn't go out of the wire and that has a little bit of resentment because of that. So yeah, we kind of, there's a gap between active duty Army and National Guard as it is. I've got stories about that in my own humility, but so already they were jealous because the National Guard unit was going out of the wire and going on combat missions, and they were the office staff.
Right.
And I did the same thing. Hey, when I got out of the active duty Army and I went into the 875th, I did not respect those guys one bit. And I'll be frank, I came in spit, shine, starched, E4, right out of South Korea. These guys are they're a joke, but I tell you, it didn't take too many deployments, and I really especially saw it in Iraq. But when we went to Katrina and some other stuff, that must have been
wild. Wow.
We were like the tip of the spear for Katrina, and it was really cool. The strength. The National Guard doesn't have the discipline as the Army. They don't have the youth and the energy and the strength like that. But they bring in a unique level of knowledge from their day jobs, because most of these guys in the National Guard, they're engineers, they're mechanics, they're working guys that are having to think and solve problems every day outside of the box. And when you bring all that together, that outside experience, it more than makes up. And our route clearance mission in Iraq with the 875th, we set records on the number of IEDs found, the ways we innovated to find IEDs to make it safer, the process safer. The whole year there on our whole battalion, we only lost one soul, and that is a testament to what we did, given the danger of our mission. And so I really had to eat a big piece of humble pie about the National Guard, because their strength is they have a strength where the active duty Army has a weakness, and when you put those two together, that's really where the success comes in the mission.
Yeah, and Katrina must have been amazing. I mean, you're helping our country, our people, try to save them from that.
It was crazy. Yep. We went down to Bay St. Louis, and I mean, it was as soon as it hit, we knew it was coming. We were already on the phone talking about it. And we mobilized just about in a battalion in 2 days. It was amazing logistically. About halfway down Alabama, there were no lights. Halfway down the state, the lights went out. It was pitch black driving through night down the interstate.
Yeah.
It was really crazy. And then as we get in, we went to a staging area and they sent us to Bay St. Louis, and that was the epicenter. And because we had these tracked vehicles that are like a combat bulldozer, right? It's like a small light bulldozer with rubber tracks. It's designed that you can carry a couple of these things in a C-130. And so we went down there to literally clear the roads and push houses off of the roads and stuff.
All right.
And when you got down close to the coastline, there was a layer of sludge over everything, including the road, with the silt that had washed up from the bay. That was about 5 inches thick, 6 inches thick. And this stuff is so slick. I'm not kidding, that when you pushed it over, the blades would come through, the dozers would push it off. And before it would dry, when it was still wet, it was so slick, you could do a 4-wheel burnout in a Humvee. And you guys know Humvees have no power. They're they're like 130 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque. They're not a powerful. They're torque. They can go slow over anything. You get all 4 wheels spinning almost like you were on ice. It was crazy. It stank horrible because it was all organic salt matter. And there were just there was literally some places where the house had been shifted over right in the road. We just pushed the house off the road. But there was a lot of areas where it was just slabs, whole neighborhoods of slabs, a long way from the shoreline. So the storm surge was 28 feet. So when you're standing at the beach, the salt water was 28 feet deep right there during the epicenter of the hurricane. So all the trees around, all these pine trees and hardwoods, 28 feet high, 30 feet high, from there down, all the leaves are brown and dead because the salt water kills them off. It was a really, really just weird thing that you would never think you would see.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible experience to see how the communities banded together, how they protected themselves, how they helped each other out. It was very, very heartwarming to get to go on that mission. It really was. I need to go down there one day and see how St. Louis is now. I haven't had a chance to go back since, but it's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I think we got a little bit off coffee for a couple minutes.
Well,
Oh yeah, you get some vet guys together.
I got something that can get us a little bit back on that track.
Let's see your work. Scott does awesome presentations.
There we go.
So we got the Bearded Sergeant Coffee Company
with the
and
chocolate chip desert camo in the
we
back.
just recently got a new affiliate code for the Bearded Sergeant Coffee Company. Use the code RESPECT.
Nice.
And you should be able to save yourself a little bit. And then
this is Jahida, the lovely lady that has been commenting on the podcast tonight. And this is pre-beard Chris.
I was going to say, yeah.
There is a jaw under there somewhere.
His hair is black and you're shaved. Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Sam took that in I gave that up in my early 30s.
And then you sent us a bunch of information about your family. Some of this we have covered.
Yeah.
Your business partner.
Yep. Steven is a great guy.
Yes. And here you said that your wife was not mail order, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. She has a very classic Central American accent, if you can imagine, right? And she's got a great sense of humor. And she will introduce herself, I'm not kidding, occasionally to complete strangers as a mail order product. She's like, and I'm this mail order product. I'm like, baby, these people are going to believe you one day. I promise. I met her at a Sunday school party.
And then you have a son, Luke, who's 7, and a daughter,
Yep.
Sophia, who's 5.
That's correct. Yeah.
And you were actually were a sergeant in the Army.
I was a sergeant. Yeah. The logo and our branding, it actually has a bit of psychology to it. And you guys will, I'm sure, agree. The whole notion of a beard in the Army, you've only got a couple of classifications that are allowed to grow a beard. You're talking your operator level at like SF and Delta. And even in those communities, only certain teams or groups are allowed to grow a beard. So it's, if you can grow a beard and you're in the Army, it's a pretty big flex, pretty big status symbol. Sergeant in the Army is I would say in the Army system is probably the most revered rank. It's the equivalent to maybe the gunny sergeant in the Marine Corps, even though the gunnery sergeant is E7 and sergeant in the Army is E5. They hold the gunny up on a pedestal. In the Army, we hold the sergeant up on a pedestal, kind of the backbone of the Army, the guy that gets everything done.
Yep.
And then of course the boonie cap. Everybody in the Army, if you were to take a poll, the number one preferred headwear of choice would definitely be the boonie cap. But you rarely get to wear, even in Balad, Iraq, guys. I'm not even lying. Check this out. In Balad, Iraq, halfway through our deployment, the base commander and whoever you are out there, I'm busting you out. I wish I had your name. Come on, Colonel. But the company commander said that the boonie caps were too unprofessional. We had to wear our PCs or patrol caps in the desert. And this decision like in August. Like if it was, you guys know, in Iraq, the winters are miserable. It's 45 and muddy and foggy. But this was in the middle of the summer. He's like, no more boonie caps. They don't look professional enough. I'm like,
jeez.
Like, dude, they're actually shooting at us. Yeah.
Yep. That's when you go and salute them as much as you can.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Yeah. So that I literally got busted out by a major for eating ice cream, walking down the sidewalk. I was walking back to our headquarters to go out on a mission. And the irony is it's kind of a scenario in the Army that you joke around, getting busted walking, eating ice cream, walking down the sidewalk is kind of a joke in the Army. That literally happened to me. But but going back to our logo, so I found a picture of the if you look at our logo, the guy wearing the beard, I found a drawing of that kind of, and then I found a picture of a soldier wearing the boonie cap. And so I went to my dad because I didn't have a marketing budget yet. And I said, I need this face wearing this hat. And he drew it with a Sharpie. And then I went back with my computer and a pen and digitally traced over every little stroke he made. Oh, wow. And that's how we got our logo. Yeah.
That's awesome. So your dad drew that?
Yeah. My father
did awesome. That. Yeah. That's cool.
Interesting.
Don't forget promo code RESPECT.
Yeah.
And then you were at Fort Knox for basic training.
Yep, home with the armor back then. I think it's at Bragg now, isn't it? Or Benning?
I don't know. Benning and Bragg are both losing their names. I know that. They're being changed to something different, but that's another story.
Yeah, I was at Fort Knox, but
you remember Agony Hill and Misery Hill?
Oh, yeah. I started basic training in July, so I knew them well.
Yep, I went into July too. It's hot there, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Agony Hill, Misery Hill, and Heartbreak Hill. They named the hills at Fort Knox.
Yeah.
They're very aptly named too, might I add.
Yeah. You will never forget their names either. But I did for tankers, at least then it was you did your basic and AIT all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like having 19 weeks of basic training.
We did our AIT at Fort Jackson. So when I went through, there was no integrated training at Knox, but Jackson was integrated. And so I had never seen a female drill sergeant before. When I got to Fort Jackson, right? Probably tell where the story's going. This female drill sergeant walks out, and I'm not lying. She looks like Judge Judy. She acts like Judge Judy. She talks like she's got the northern New York accent like Judge Judy. And it was all of us guys from Knox got there a little early before the rest of our unit came in. And she came out and started talking, and she caught us snickering at her. And she quickly taught us that a female drill sergeant can smoke you just as easy as a male drill sergeant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I even think just because they were female, they were on a whole different level.
And yeah, they had a point to prove. Yeah.
Right.
And they did, you know, but man, I cannot remember her name. Drill sergeant, I don't know, but she was really good at her job. Of course, we hated her in training, you know, and then the day you graduate, you love your drill instructor the day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But she was really good. She kept us disciplined. She kept us in check, and she did her job really well. So yeah, she made a good soldier out of me. Lucked out right off the bat. Didn't even know how lucky I got. I got stationed at Fort Eustis right off the bat. like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, we did Bright Star 99 2000 in Egypt. And that was really cool. I was just like an E2 19, got to go to Egypt, see the pyramids, see the Sphinx.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Just, yeah, really, really cool stuff. And learn just how much litter there is in desert countries. There's a lot of litter. But yeah, then right then, I had a very, very, very lucky active duty career, because when I left Virginia, I went to South Korea. Now, at first, I thought I drew the short end of the stick, because I went to South Korea for 18 months. If you have any less than 6 months left in your contract, and you go to somewhere like Germany or South Korea, then you get involuntarily extended. You don't just go for 1 year. If it's one, and I was 1 year, 5 months in like 25 days, 5 days short of going back to the States. So I'm like, oh man, well, okay. So I go to Korea, and we're all standing a big gaggle. And there's really two places you can go to Korea. There's Second ID, and there's somewhere else that's just really, really good that nobody ever gets. Everybody goes to Second ID. It's the unit that's on the DMZ. It's a hardship tour. You're pulling a lot of hours. You don't get to play around a lot, you know, because you're really staring down at the North Koreans. It's the real deal.
Yeah.
So they get up there and they're like, so-and-so, 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 Hinnick. Yeah, over here, 6 Cav. Everybody else, Second ID. I was like,
wow.
What? So not only did I get in 6 Cav, I filtered down to 6 Cav, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to send you to an air 870 or 875th. It was 143rd Air Defense Artillery Battalion in Suwon, right? Patriot Missile Battery. So I go down to Suwon. They're like, well, we need you in Echo Company. And I got stationed on Kunsan Air Force Base, South Korea, for 1.5 years in the far southwest corner of the country. Probably the best duty you could possibly ask for, being an Army soldier in South Korea. And but I was really lucky. I was a wrecker operator. So the depot level, the third level, real high level maintenance was on the southeast corner of the country. So I towed a lot of vehicles over there, and I towed a lot of vehicles up to the Suwon Air Base, which is in the north central, where our battalion headquarters was. Long story short, I got to drive across and experience a lot of that country. Very, very beautiful. South Korea is a lot like the Appalachian Mountains, really, really gorgeous mountains, and very similar weather to like the Mid-South. Really cool.
Did you get to visit any parks there?
I visited the War Memorial in Seoul, which is amazing. They have like all kinds of Korean War equipment there, big, from the big bombers to tanks, and they even have like ancient Korean War stuff there. That Koreans, like way back in the ancient days, used to have these katanas that were like great katanas. These things would be 5 or 6 feet long in a katana sword. Crazy. I also got to go tour the DMZ. I actually technically got to go into North Korea. There's the blue building. So if you watch the footage of President Trump, where he crossed over into North Korea with Kim Jong-un, they're walking between these long, narrow blue buildings. There's about 5 or 6 of these buildings that half of them are in North Korea, half of them are in South Korea, and that's where they have all the negotiating meetings and stuff like that. Well, when you go on this tour as a soldier, you get to go into one of those blue meetings, and there's a table in the center, and that table is right on the line. Half of it's in North and half of it's in South Korea, and we got to walk past that table into the North Korean side of the building. So that's kind of a cool thing in my life as I actually stepped foot into North Korea. But you can look out the window and you can see the North Korean soldiers marching by, old Soviet, like big saucer caps, Soviet style high step marching, AKs. It was amazing. Very, very sad, but it was amazing. Very sad because of the same people. I mean, the same exact people. And one side is prosperous. Seoul is like New York City. I mean, it really is like an Asian version of New York City. It's amazing, amazing place. And then just right over that wall, they're using ox to pull their plows in the rice fields because they can't afford simple tractors. Yeah. So yeah, very sad, but amazing experience.
Just real quick, if anyone does make it to South Korea as a tourist, make sure you check out Haesinding Park.
Where's that at?
It's like the northeastern coast.
Oh, that's like one area of South Korea I did not get to explore.
Haesinding Park.
Were you in South Korea?
No, but you can look it up later.
Okay.
I wasn't there, but my wife did go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really is a cool country.
Yeah.
It's much more affordable to go to than Japan. But no Korean will appreciate me saying this, but it is kind of a similar culture. They hate each other historically,
right?
But it's a very similar culture in that there's a lot of respect for elders, and there's a lot of like levels of respect that go into their culture, which is very valuable. And they have this relentless dedication to perfection, similar to the Japanese culture, where, you know, everything they do, they try to do it absolutely as best as they can. And it really, really neat place.
So it was after that you were in the National Guard then?
Yes, I left out from Korea and went right into the National Guard and began burning money for 3 years in college. Yeah. About 3 of those classes were worth the money. Everything else was it remains to be debated. But that was the time I was in the National Guard. When I deployed, I got out because in 08 and 09, I owned a transportation company at the time. We did what's called hot shotting. If you've ever seen like the dually pickups with the flatbeds. Right after Katrina, I got a guy kind of came to me and he said, "Hey, I've got a contract for hauling these camper trailers down from somewhere way up north in Indiana."
South Bend?
South Bend, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Amish, I think it was the Amish guys up there were building campers, and he had a contract hauling a bunch down. So that's how I got into the transportation business. And we started doing what's called LTL. It's lighter than load freight. And then I got deployed to the National Guard. My ETS up was there too, very similar with Korea. I got involuntarily extended for 11 months on my contract. To go to Iraq, and then right around that time the recession hit, and I had equipment sitting still. My brother quit his job managing a rice farm to help me and to get the equipment rolling, but it was just it just wasn't enough. You know, at the time diesel was like $5.50 a gallon, and people weren't paying what we needed, and so I had to get out. When I came back, I had to get out to devote all of my energy into that business to get it recovered. Unfortunately it didn't, but hey, you know, in the world of business, if you lose a business, the lessons you learned are probably more valuable than the business itself. So, we learned a lot of good lessons there, but you know, my time was there. And to be frank, the military, even at that time, I recognized was changing a little bit in a direction that I didn't know if I wanted to continue to endorse. The active duty army was so focused when we were in Balad. They were so focused on the stuff that you should have been focused on in garrison, but not in combat. And it was just,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, it got a little crazy.
So then it was in the National Guard. You were in Alaska.
Yes, yeah, we went up to Ketchikan Island, Alaska, and or no, Metlakatla is how you say it, and it's really close to Ketchikan, which is a popular port town if you take cruises up north. And so there was a Indian village on the southwest corner of the island, and they wanted a road to connect their village from their village to the port, which is on the northeast side of the island, so that they can take a boat quickly to Metlakatla and back. And so this was before our mission had changed to route clearance, and we were still combat engineers. So we went out there, and we were, around the side of the mountain. We were blasting the rock away and loading that in quarry trucks, and then between kind of where the two mountains were, there was a kind of a peat swamp where we would dump that rubble in and basically building the road around the mountain. Very, very cool. It's so I've been in all of the states except for North Dakota, Maine, and Hawaii, and it's the most beautiful country I've ever seen. It was crazy. Our base camp was over by where the port was, and we had to drive a deuce and a half through this mountain pass to the other side of the island. It's just the same island, and the mountain pass was, I think, like 5,500 feet elevation, and it was a logging road. And I got to drive every day. It was cool. Old deuce and a half, no muffler, manual transmission.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah, I remember those things.
Yeah, it was great. They just had some old equipment there, but there was a couple of times. So it would get dark. So we'd go up through the mountain pass and then come down to the maintenance complex because we were in maintenance. It would get dark at 4 a.m. and then the sun would just dip below the horizon at 4 a.m. and then 4:30 a.m. It's coming up, like 30 minutes of darkness. And the salmon were running, and the local Indian village gave us permission to fish. So what we would do, we had some guys from New York, a company in New York that had teamed up with us on this deployment. Me and this guy from New York would go out and fish every night when our mate, we were on night shift in maintenance, and like 7 o'clock or so, our shift would start. It was 7 to 7. We'd go out and catch 2 or 3 40-pound king salmon, drag them up, clean them right on the banks, fire up the grill, cook these big salmon fillets. I went and talked to the guy at the chow hall, and he hooked me up with some salt and pepper and onion powder and stuff. And so every night we'd cook salmon and have fresh salmon right out of the river about midnight on our break. And then we'd fix the trucks, and heading back, there was a couple of times where I stopped at the top of that pass because we would be above the clouds, and it would just be solid clouds. The sun would be rising, and there's like 4 mountain peaks poking out of the top of the clouds. It's incredible scenery. But that was a really, really cool mission that we got to go on. So yeah, Southern Alaska in the summertime is amazing. If anybody wants to go up there and visit, that's the time to go.
Oh yeah, that's one of the places I've always wanted to visit. Definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, I'd love to take. My grandparents used to go on cruises up there. They would go to Metlakatla, and then from there they would take off on their cruise up north and go. They would go to see the icebergs and the what's the word I'm thinking of? Glaciers. The glaciers. Yeah.
Cool. So then this was just basically your story.
Yeah.
Growing up around cattle and horses, coffee was a staple in your household. As a teenager, you developed a love for coffee and continued to be a part of your daily routine with your time in the Army and the National Guard. Back then, the quality of coffee was determined by the ability to stand up straight when you would step a fork in the cup. It wasn't until you met your beautiful Costa Rican wife that she took you to her home country, and you discovered what a real high quality coffee was.
Yep.
All about the rich aroma, bold flavor, and the vibrant acidity of Costa Rican coffee. You're fascinated by the process of making, from the small farmers to cultivate beans to the roasters who are out with the unique flavor profiles. It's got to be kind of neat to see how coffee is made. A lot of us partake in coffee, but we've never actually got to see the process. Or
Yeah, it's pretty neat, and I'm in a unique situation because a lot of coffee shop owners, they never get to go down to the countries where their coffee beans come from. They've got a broker that does that, but since my wife's family is down there, we get to go down there, and of course you see, just researching coffee down there and visiting different places. It really is cool. Those guys, I mean, it really is hand harvested. When the season comes, they've got their baskets and they're picking berries, and it's like a really big cultural thing down there, and it's very cool. You can get some amazing coffee. I'll tell you one coffee that is better than Bearded Sergeant coffee is if you're going up Poás Volcano in Costa Rica, there's a place called Tres Generaciones Coffee. And you go into the little coffee shop they have there, and you can have a fresh cup of coffee, and you can go out on the balcony, and you're overlooking the side of the volcano of the actual coffee field where that coffee came from. And that's their farm right there. Yeah. So you get a lot of places like that where the coffee shop is the coffee shop of the farm that grows the coffee. And then you can go on tours and see the processes that they go through, and learn about it's how elevation affects the flavor. It really is neat, man, and it's something that we don't get here in America because it's just not, we don't have the climate that's conducive to grow coffee here. So
and then you say fast forward a few years, you get the opportunity to get into the coffee industry and generally help wounded veterans. And it's something you couldn't pass up.
Yeah.
I know as a veteran, I've always wanted to give back. I know there's a lot of soldiers who have hit hard times, and
yep. And it really is up to us, man. The government's only going to do so much, and
right.
Everybody's got VA stories, good or bad. They're a net force of good, but they can't do magic. It really is up to other vets to stand up and some people, God chooses to bless some people in different ways, and we need to be responsible for that, yeah, it's very rewarding when you're able to fulfill that, when you're able to do something like that. It's very humbling and rewarding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys are committed to providing high quality coffee beans while making a difference in the lives of other people.
Absolutely.
And you hope you enjoy your coffee as much as you do, and have a blessed day.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I think you did say that. And was this a picture of you in service, I take it?
This was a picture of me on mission, actually. Yep. Yep.
And here you must be. Go ahead.
One of our first events. We got into doing like vendor events. A good friend of mine owns a race timing company, Aggie Race Timing Company, and he said, "Hey Chris, why don't you come to one of these? Right, it's like a 5K, 10K race." I used to be a big runner before my knees wore out, and so I was really interested. He said, come work my photo booth. You can sell your coffee, and just kind of, it's a win-win, mutually beneficial business deal. And so we went out there, and we had a great time, really good time visiting with people, sold a bunch of coffee. And so we said, hey, the vendor thing is kind of hit it off. And so we started doing some local events in our town, like the Food and Eats Festival. And now we're actually dedicated to a farmer's market on Saturdays. We show up and looking at maybe next year, maybe even doing some air shows or something bigger like that. That would be really fun. That's kind of our one of our goals with the business was to be able to have something, like I said earlier, that gives you a level of freedom. It's like, we can go work this air show, and yeah, we're doing business and it's work, but we're also having a really awesome time. We can bring the kids, they get to see the jets fly. It's a trip. And, so you're not having to separate work life and family life and so much,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's cool. We talk to a lot of beard company owners, and they do a lot of like fairs and festivals and those kind of things. So
it's a really good way to get your name out there. Honestly, the connections that you make there are probably in the long run more beneficial than the bags of coffee that we're selling. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of good way to get yourself off it's a good way to get yourself off the ground, and scale yourself to where you'll know when you're too busy to be able to do them. But we really enjoy it.
And then here is just an announcement about you just pairing up with the charity that you were talking about.
Yep.
Basically donating a portion of every bag of coffee beans to the homes
for our troops.
Yes. And it's great that you're able to do that. And I know there's veterans out there who really appreciate that, because they're able to have a home that they may not have had otherwise.
Oh man, yeah, it's amazing. Well, it's a lot of these guys are like double and triple amputees, so even giving them a normal home is only helping them so much. They've got to be able to, just like being able to bathe their kid is something that requires special consideration. And so having a home that's designed around that from the get-go, man, that's a game changer for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way, picture in the background, that is a PAC-2 Patriot missile launcher, for any of you that want to know. And that is actually pointed at North Korea. That one was live at the time. Yeah.
This is more talking about homes for our troops, and that they're a 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates the homes to severely injured post 9/11 veterans, and enable them to rebuild their lives. Most of these veterans sustained injuries, including multiple limb amputations, partial or full paralysis, and also a traumatic brain injury. These homes restore some of the freedom and independence to our veterans who sacrificed while defending our country, and help them focus on rebuilding their lives.
Yep. They've got a great YouTube channel. If you guys want to see some of the examples of some of the Joes that are getting their lives changed by this organization, and a Joe is an affectionate term, guys, that we use for anybody that served in the military. Just go to their YouTube channel, Homes for Our Troops YouTube channel, and most of their videos are testimonials of severely wounded veterans that have received these homes that are in the program. I got to warn you, you may need a box of Kleenexes, but it'll be worth the trip.
Yeah, and also if you want more information about this organization, there's a website you can check out, and there's a lot of pictures and a lot of information. Pretty amazing. Shows you the houses and everything. But yeah, I'll definitely check out their YouTube page.
Yeah, they have a really neat live home tracker page where you can track the current projects they have going across the nation.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And a lot of this is just describing what we're saying, that that you're donating from every bag, able to help their mission and help make the difference in the lives of severely injured veterans. And then here we get into your Costa Rican coffee beans, which are known for exceptional flavor profiles, featuring bright acidity and undertones of citrus and tropical fruits from premier regions of Costa Rica. And those who want a refreshing start to their day or afternoon pick-me-up, they're known for having a higher caffeine content.
Yep, especially the light roast.
And I like to also point out that you can count coffee as a fruit.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, there you go. And if you drink it straight from the French press, it only counts as 1 cup.
There you go.
Here they're talking about world-class flavor, featuring some of the best flavor profiles of any coffee growing in Central and South America. The Costa Rican coffee beans that are known for their acidity and flavor, which we were just talking about. Good pick-me-up. And I know a lot of us in the morning are looking for that pick-me-up to get us going in the morning, at least.
Oh, yeah.
And you deserve better than drinking stale coffee.
Yes.
So you actually get it pretty fresh. So it's getting to your customers as fresh as possible. It's not sitting on some shelf in a store for a while and some warehouse somewhere.
You're not going to get a bag to sit in a warehouse for 2 months or, in the back of Walmart waiting to go up on the shelf. Yeah. And it really does make a difference.
Right.
Yeah,
So if I order a bag of beans from you today, when was it roasted?
Today, it was roasted last week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Can't beat that.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Pretty much aren't going to get it any fresher than that.
It's going to ruin your ability to drink cheap coffee. It's not snake oil. It's a pretty big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And here it says, when they say paradise on earth, they are not kidding. Costa Rica is a small country. And it is bordered by Nicaragua on the north and Panama on the south, Pacific Ocean to the west, and the Caribbean to the east. So it is a lush tropical paradise, some of the best weather in the world, which is what you were discussing earlier.
Man. It's true.
Well, I believe it. It sounds pretty magical. Most beans are grown on mountainside farms at 3,900 to 6,000 foot of elevation and rich volcanic soil. And all these factors combine to make some of the best coffee in the world.
Yep. You can only grow Arabica beans in Costa Rica. It's like a federal law, but Arabica beans are the highest quality coffee bean.
Huh.
Yeah.
And we've got one of your bags here that goes for $17.97 for a 12 ounce, or you can get 5 pounds for those people who drink a lot of coffee.
Yep.
And the more bags you buy, the more you save.
Yep.
So if,
And don't forget, we have K-Pods as well.
yes. So if you buy 2, you save 5%, buy 3, 10%, buy 4, 15%. And you
That's
can get that in whole beans or fine ground, medium ground, coarse ground.
If you want something custom, just send us a message and I can work you something up. Yep.
And then you have the K-style pods as well, $11.97 for a 12-pack, or $78.79 for a 72-pack.
Yep.
And you're talking about those K pods where you get more coffee than your normal.
Yeah. Yeah. A typical pod has about 10 grams of coffee. Ours has 14 grams. It has the lid functions as a carbon dioxide vent, which vents out carbon dioxide, which is what makes coffee stale. That's the little vent on your coffee bag that smells really good. It's actually designed to let carbon dioxide out. And then the filter media, you can see it pleated in the picture if you look close enough. It's a better quality filter media, and what that allows us to do is use a finer grind coffee in the pod, so you can extract more of the oils and more of the flavors. So your coffee pod, your K cup is going to taste more like a cup of coffee that you get at a barista instead of just kind of a watered down medium. Keurig machine doesn't really generate a strong cup of coffee typically.
Right. Yeah, that's why I kind of went away from Keurigs. Is I just couldn't get a good enough cup of coffee. And that makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why I normally have the ones where I grind it up myself and fill my ones that I wash out.
What kind of grinder do you use?
It's a Mueller.
Okay, like a conical burr.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good grinder. Yeah, guys, don't use your Ninja to grind coffee, please. And if your coffee has the little whirling blade, you're better off buying ground coffee. And here's why. When you grind coffee, you want all of the particles of your coffee to be the same size. If you grind inconsistent size particles of coffee, and I know we're getting into the minutia here, but it really does make a difference. If you have small particles of coffee and big particles of coffee being brewed at the same time, if you brew it long enough for the big particles of coffee, the small ones are going to go bitter. Or if you brew it only long enough for the small particles of coffee, the big particles of coffee aren't going to perk correctly. And so you're not going to get the best flavor that you can get. So it's worth it to spend a few extra bucks to get a conical burr grinder, or just go ahead and buy your coffee pre-ground, because they're probably using a really nice mill.
That's what I do. I buy ground.
Well, yeah, and if you're getting it as fresh as you are from a small batch company,
right?
If you're drinking it with regularly, you'll be fine. Yeah. If it's sitting on your shelf for a month, you can make an excuse to grind it, and you'll always get that extra 5% if you grind it fresh every day. So it is worth it. If you're really looking for the best cup of coffee, but for the practical coffee drinker, not everybody has time for it. So that's fair.
Right.
Yeah, my wife has trouble reading labels sometimes. She'll go by. She drinks Death Wish coffee.
Oh,
and and she'll like Target sells it now and Walmart, and she'll go buy a bag and not read the label, and then she comes home and then she realizes she got whole bean. So she has bought a little grinder now too, but
Okay. If you
but
want your coffee to really work great, guys, and I'm probably going to be the only coffee entrepreneur to tell you this, but limit your coffee consumption. I drink no more than 2 cups a day, and I don't drink any caffeine after 9 a.m. because coffee has an 8-hour half-life. So if you drink a cup of coffee at noon, you're going to have a quarter to an eighth of that caffeine in your blood system at midnight, 1 a.m. And so you'll sleep, but you're not going to get that REM sleep, the deep sleep that lets you wake up feeling rested. And I was at a point in my life not too long ago where I was drinking probably over a pot a day. And I got to thinking, oh man, I have to drink coffee to get myself up to the operating mean. I want it to be a boost. And so I cut way back for a couple of weeks. I did 1 cup of coffee a day, every other day. And on the off day, I did a cup of green tea. And after a couple of weeks of that, now I can drink a couple of cups in the morning, and it's a really great boost to me. I don't have to have it to get going. So, yeah, it's a little counterproductive for my business, but the best way to consume coffee is, get some good coffee and drink it in moderation, and then it'll work for you. And I have to give credit to that to Lieutenant Colonel John Grossman. He wrote On Combat, On Killing, 2 great books. I got the privilege of knowing him growing up, and a really great guy. If you want to look up like a really good military man to as a role model, Lieutenant Colonel John Grossman.
yeah, my wife, she usually just makes 1 cup of coffee in the morning, but she'll kind of drink it all day. She doesn't.
I gotta have it boiling hot. If it gets cold, I'll dump it out. You gotta master the slurp on it. You gotta be able to slurp it. But yeah, I've joked with my wife. I said I'm going to get one of those USB powered coffee cup warmers because I don't like stainless steel. The Yetis work really good to keep it hot, but the feel of stainless steel on your lips is not good. Really, what I like to use honestly to drink a cup of coffee out of is my wife just found me this one China coffee cup, porcelain coffee cup, and I typically use it because I'd rather have 2 hot cups of coffee than 1 big one to cool down.
Right.
And the feel, it's interesting in the same as you can detect the nuance of the flavor in fine coffee. If you drink from porcelain, the feel of it against your lips is better than ceramic or stainless steel. It's just a thing. The guys that made the China coffee cups knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Now, Michael, how often do you drink coffee?
All day.
All day.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it's like I can go just half a day, but I just like the taste. I like the warmth.
Yeah.
I like the taste. Like
Me
it.
too.
Like I don't do it for any other reason. Like I don't do it for energy or anything like that because I drink it right up till bedtime. I sleep fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely heard that about the sleep. And I've also heard that you should wait about 90 minutes after you wake up to take your first cup of coffee just to have more energy.
An hour. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Your sleep hormones are declining for an hour after you wake up.
Right.
And then after an hour, they're at their lowest level. And if you hit the caffeine, then they're not having to overcome those sleep hormones. You're getting your boost. Yeah. If you have kids, it's a little tough. What I do, I wake up at 5:30 and I don't make it quite an hour, but I work out first for 30 minutes and then I get myself ready. That's about 45 minutes ish. And then I put the coffee on. So 45 minutes to an hour, I get it. We literally, I have my mornings mapped out like 50-minute blocks to try to get the family ready. My wife and I want personal Bible study time. Then we want to cook for the kids. We don't want to just shove cereal down their throats. And then we want to have family Bible study time. And so we had to get really organized in our mornings to make all that stuff happen.
So, Michael, did you have some?
I do. I'm ready.
All right. We have a kind of newer segment here.
Yeah. So, Chris, we saved the tough questions for the end.
I'm ready.
All right. We'll start with this. What was your favorite toy as a kid?
Oh, wow.
You can only pick one toy. What was your favorite as a kid?
Okay, I got it. When I was a kid, my dad used to go out and help a friend of his who was a rice and soybean farmer on the weekend named Barry Moss. And I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And every once in a while, I'd get to go out and ride the tractors with him, which was the coolest thing in the world. And so for Christmas, I got the toy John Deere tractor with the disc. And we would have row marks in the living room carpet where we had a crop going and everything. Nice. So, my brother and I wore that John Deere tractor out. Yep.
Nice. And this is, I think you kind of answered this before. But you could talk a little bit more about it if you want. What was your passion before coffee beans? Like, what were you really into before?
Well, my line of work was sales and marketing. And I got my break into an industrial equipment manufacturer called Camphil Far. It was selling industrial dust collectors, and I sold some other stuff, worked for Wells Fargo. But like my passion was two things: was running. I used to be a great distance runner. I wanted to get into ultra marathoning and marathoning, running like 50 miles. I was running like 60 miles a week. And then just a few years ago, one day I walked out, started limping on my left knee, and one MRI later, I had no cartilage left on the back of my kneecap, so I had to just stop running. So I was big into running and Italian sport bikes. I'm a big Ducati fan, love them, and had a couple, just completely customized them. I was into customizing them and riding them. Sold them for the business and just they're dangerous. It's not you riding the bike. It's not the power or anything. You know, the second you get on a motorcycle, you're instantly the most aware person on the road. You're aware of everything. It's the
other people.
It's the oblivious soccer parent in the 9,000-pound SUV that's driving around screaming at their kids, checking Twitter, and just out of nowhere, wipes you out. And with little kids, I couldn't leave mom with little kids, so I said, when the kids graduate, we'll get back into motorcycles, but we'll probably get like a Jeep or something family oriented until then. But yeah, my passion is Italian V-twin bikes that want to kill you just a little bit. So good. Man.
All right, if you could only do one thing on your bucket list, what would it be?
Oh man. It's a tie.
No, it'll be just one thing.
One thing.
You gotta pick one.
I was gonna say fly F-14s. Go to space. Go to space.
Yeah, go to space. Yeah,
go to space. It's
definitely. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep.
So then you'd go to Mars with a
Elon.
No. I want to come back alive. Yeah, but
or like Jeff Bezos, who went up to space for like 60 seconds and then came down.
Jeff didn't even make it. He didn't even make it to space, man. You got to pass the Kármán line. Come on. But yeah, I think Yeah, I'm a big Elon fan, big SpaceX fan. Growing up, my dad, we watched every space launch. My dad won this essay competition when I was a little kid that Snickers candy bar had. They were like, write an essay on how you think space travel will look in the year 2000. This was like in the mid 80s, and he won, and he got to go to space camp. So I'm like 7, and my dad gets to go to space camp, and I have to stay home. But it was a ripoff. So
that was
Dad,
a great movie, by the way, Space Camp.
It was. Growing up, I watched that movie. Dad bought every mission patch. We watched every launch. And back in the day, you had to plan ahead. It wasn't just, oh, I missed it on SpaceX's stream, I'll just go back and catch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, all right, get the dinner trays out, get dinner ready, got the all right, we got 15 minutes. But you know, and then the US, you know, after the shuttle program, we kind of went through a dark time in our space travel. And but Elon Musk single-handedly, you know, really turned that around. And I think he's going to make space travel accessible for the common man in the future. But gosh, man, just to get all the way up there, you know, it's kind of amazing. I met an astronaut in Charlotte. It was the wife of a guy that was running for city council, and she was a school teacher, and she got selected on one of the space shuttle missions to go into space. It's like, man, how lucky can you get?
I thought you were going to tell us about the astronaut that drove cross country to Florida to confront her boyfriend's girlfriend.
Oh man, though I remember that was like in the late 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, she went crazy.
She wore diapers and
Yeah.
not the car at all. All right. So
Maybe one too many. Hey, Sonia Arancibia. That is my wife's sister from Costa Rica. So we have people watching from Costa Rica right now.
Awesome.
Yep. Hey, Sonia.
All right. Being in the Army, what was your favorite thing to look for? Chem light batteries, grid squares, or getting exhaust samples?
Oh, bet I was the sender. I was the master sender. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I was pretty clever. They didn't get me, but I got many new Joes coming in. My favorite was our motor pool was about 2 blocks from our company headquarters, and you had to get grid squares from the supply desk up at company. So why send them out in the motor pool when you could send them 2 blocks down the road for grid squares?
Exhaust samples were my favorite, though, to see people walking around with a garbage bag.
With the garbage bag?
Yeah.
That's a good one, man.
All right. Final question. You're not going to get this one. I don't think you'll be able to answer it, but
okay.
Let's see. This country is known as the coffee capital of the world. What is it?
Be Colombia?
I have a feeling no one in the chat would get it either.
I'm gonna guess
it's not Colombia. It's not.
It's not Ethiopia. Maybe.
It's not.
I give up.
Yeah. It is Finland.
Okay, can I guess?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
I was wrong anyway. I was going to say Japan.
It's actually Finland. And here's the reason why. They consume more coffee than any country in the world.
Okay.
They don't have coffee in their country. Like, they don't grow the beans.
Right.
But they average 8.9 cups of coffee daily.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I thought you were going for growers. I'm like, how do you grow coffee in Finland? It's way too cold.
Yeah. So they've been named in 2022. They were named coffee capital, the coffee capital of the world.
Yeah.
And it's very common. They drink coffee throughout the entire day, all the way up to bedtime. And if they offer you coffee, it's like an insult for you to turn them down.
Oh, I better not go visit then.
Right. Yeah.
Better not.
Finland
just
is
Jason.
The hydraulic press channel. I think those guys are from Finland, aren't they?
I don't know.
You guys say it's pretty popular channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
They started out crushing stuff with their hydraulic press, and now
Yeah.
they just blow stuff up.
Oh yeah.
They just have fun.
Yep, Russ, I'm right there with you.
What's 21 a.m.?
I don't know.
11 a.m.
I'm gonna guess he's in 2,100 hours.
11 a.m. Yeah.
Okay.
So 11 a.m.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all the questions I got for you. The tough ones. But really appreciate you coming on the show and telling us all about your company, and what your company is doing is amazing. And that's why I think we really love supporting companies that give back, that are donating to a good cause. And you being a veteran-owned company, helping other veterans is just amazing. And really thank you for that.
Well, man, guys, it is our honor to be able to be featured on your show, and we really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, and even though I'm not a coffee drinker, I enjoyed all your stories you had, and not being a veteran myself, hearing some of the fun stuff that you got to do was well worth it.
Well, I appreciate that, Jason, and your beard is one to aspire to for sure. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. So how far are you from Nashville?
I'm about 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is that where you're at, Mike?
No, I'm in Wyoming.
You're in
Cheyenne.
That's right.
Yeah,
Wyoming.
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Man.
However, the three of us will be in Nashville in September.
Oh, cool.
A show there, and there's a beard competition there. And yeah.
Might have to find an excuse to make it out that way.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I had a client in Wyoming when I had my transportation company. It was in oh gosh, what's the cities that's about halfway up Wyoming?
Oh, Casper.
Yeah, Casper.
Yeah.
And he was on the west side of Casper, trailer manufacturer. We were delivering trailers to him. And he had just got back from the taxidermist a female mountain lion that they had killed on a hunt.
Yeah.
Man, bro, this cat was 218 pounds. Okay. And it's like the classic mount where it's like sideways on a plank and it's got its claw like this. And it's the fang, the claws were like as long as your forefinger, and the muscle on its forearm was like my calf. I mean, you could just look at this thing and say, if this thing got a hold of you, I don't care how big of a man you are, you're gone. And they had tracked it. He said they tracked it 2 miles up the side of a mountain. It had killed a doe, a female deer, drug it 2 miles up a mountain, drug it up into a pine tree, and was taking a nap on top of the deer. They guessed the deer had body warmth in it, and it was, nice spot, and they shot it out of the tree. Holy cow. That's man, to go hunting for something that could just hunt you just as easily.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's cool. That's definitely on my bucket list. What a trophy. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Beautiful country, man. Beautiful mountains out there.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Scott, where are you at?
I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
But
Wisconsin is where we did our pre-mobilization training to go to Iraq, which makes perfect sense. Right?
Yeah, that should have been at NTC in California.
It should have been. We did that the year before. So we flew out of Wisconsin in October, and it's like 45, and then we land in a day later in Kuwait, and it's about 117. It's great, man. We had heat casualties dropping like flies.
Oh yeah.
My first experience with a Black Hawk was I was a combat lifesaver, aside from my job, which is for those that don't know, it's kind of a mini medic. You can have your job in the Army, and then you get go through the combat lifesaver course, and you carry a medic bag, and basically you keep them alive till the medic gets there. So my first experience with combat lifesaving and Black Hawking was Blackhawks coming to retrieve our heat casualties from the range because they just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But Scott, it's too cold up there, man. When the lakes freeze over to the point where you can drive a truck over them, that's God's way of saying you need to move south, bro. It's too cold. Godly.
Yeah, well, I also did grow up in Louisiana as well. So,
Okay.
so I've had it both.
And Jason, you're in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, I'm about 50 miles west or east of Pittsburgh.
East of Pittsburgh. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. A little too cold up there too, but it's really pretty country.
Yeah.
You up in the mountains?
I am, and I actually live almost on top. My grandparents' house was on top of a little mountain they call Penview Mountain. So
Nice. It's beautiful country up there.
Yeah, that's why, last year, all three of us, me and Scott went out to Mike's house in Wyoming, and then we went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. But, I mean, I love the country out there, but a lot of it out west, there's a lot of brown, you know.
Yeah.
And I like my lush green grass. You know, I love the green.
The
grass.
eastern mountains are beautiful because it's like a sea of green.
Oh yeah.
That's the beauty of the East. Yeah.
And then in the fall you get those fall colors.
Oh man, yeah. Up in Pennsylvania, you get amazing colors in the fall.
Yeah.
Golly, I had a crazy experience a couple of months ago. We went to get our new dog Tucker, the coffee dog, and I got to take a road trip with my 7-year-old son all the way to Phoenix, Arizona to get him. And it was in late February, and the Sonoran Desert was in its rainy season. I've been there a few times, but only in the summer. It was gorgeous. It was in the mid to upper 70s, Sonoran Desert. So you get the giant 25, 30 foot tall cactuses and everything, but the whole desert floor is covered in wildflowers, purple and yellow. It's beautiful out there. Yeah, very rare, but very pretty. But yeah, other than that, a little too much brown. I like to visit the desert. I miss it every once in a while, but I got to have my green, man.
Well, and out in Wyoming, Michael's has had a lot of snow this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had 6 inches last year. It was a once in a decade, once in a 20-year snow.
That's a blizzard, man.
Shut the whole state down. Oh yeah. It was a big deal here. About every 10 to 15 years, we'll get 4 to 6 inches.
That's a normal day here in Wisconsin.
Right.
Like where I'm at in Arkansas, a lot of the schools around here have dirt roads or gravel roads as rural routes. It can rain hard enough here, and schools will get canceled.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much snow.
Well, I can't imagine you'd even have snowplows down there.
Oh yeah, we do have a few, believe it or not. But when it gets bad, they've got road graders out pushing snow off the roads.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, and the main roads will be clear, but like in our neighborhood, it may take a few days before you can, get to the main roads. But like I said, what it was 2 or 3 years ago, we had a really big snow here, and my son was 5 years old, and he just thought it was, hey, that's what happens in the winter. But after that, last year, he's like, Dad, where's the snow? And I'm like, well, we're gonna have to go do a little driving.
Up here in Pennsylvania, it goes through cycles. Some years we'll get pounded, and other years, like this year, I never plowed my driveway once. I think the most we ever got at one time was maybe 4 to 5 inches. It was just pretty mild. The thing I don't like is living up here. I mean, I forget what the elevation is here. It's not much compared to like when we were in Jackson Hole.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, it's 6,000 here.
yeah.
Oh wow,
And,
that's you're getting pretty close to the highest point on the East Coast at 6,000.
Oh yeah.
6850, I think, is the highest point. Mount Mitchell.
So, but it gets up here just on top of this hill. We get wind, the cold and the wind chill is what I don't like.
Yeah.
If it would be like 20 degrees and we had a foot of snow, I'd love it. But when it gets down to that negative shit and then the wind chill, I don't go for that. I don't like that.
Yeah, believe it or not, as far south as I am here in Arkansas, we have particularly nasty winters. We don't get a lot of negative temperatures. The coldest we typically get is in the 20s. We had a cold snap this year that got below zero briefly, but the thing is, it's wet and cold and windy. It's muddy and wet. There's a lot of upper, right above freezing, rain, and then a lot of northern wind. I'm lucky I live right on Crowley's Ridge, which is a little hilly strip in northeast Arkansas, but everything in northeast Arkansas is Mississippi River Delta. So rice, soybeans, cotton, and corn, depending on what side of the ridge and the soil. But if you go about 2 blocks east of me, it's the last hill till the Mississippi River, which is about 80 miles away. And I mean, if it's a hill, it's man-made for 80 miles. Yeah. But it is really pretty in the summer when everything is just, like you said, a sea of green. You get some really big sunsets. So there is some beauty to it. But man, I'd love to be over in Western Arkansas in the mountains. Fortunately, we're here because of family. We moved back from Charlotte to be here because my brother and all his family and my parents and grandparents are here. So that's what's really more important is to be close for the kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, you do any elk hunting up there? Or not Scott, but Mike?
No, I'm not a hunter.
Not a hunter, huh?
No, I'm a city kid from Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
So
at least you escaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family's I didn't grow up with hunters in the family, so but
That's
I
okay.
appreciate it. Like I would do it. Like
if you ever decide to jump in, you're one of the best spots to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if someone invited me to do it, I'd definitely do it. But
are you a hiker? You do any hiking up there? Anything like that?
Lots of hiking.
Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're close to the Rockies in Colorado. We usually hike down there.
Yeah,
because I'm in eastern Wyoming, so there's not much mountains where I'm at.
Okay,
you got to drive 3 or 4 hours to get to the mountains, but
right,
just going down to Denver about an hour. We're right in the Rockies, so
okay,
yeah,
cool. I took the family to Estes Park a couple of years ago to camp.
Oh yeah,
oh man,
there.
It's my wife had never really been very far west. She'd only been on the East Coast, and I wanted to take them out.
Yeah,
it really is totally different than the East Coast mountains. Unique beauties of each.
Yeah,
but man, Estes Park doesn't disappoint. That's a magical place.
It is. Yeah, you went to the right place.
Yep.
Did you have elk walk right up to your car?
We didn't see any elk. No, we went like in August, and we did not see a single elk.
That is.
Yeah,
that's rare that you don't see elk there.
Weird. There was wildfires going on north of us. They said that were okay. They said some protesters had set off wildfires, and the habit they had picked up recently. Political protesters.
Yeah,
but I don't know what burning forest does to prove your political point. But whatever. But no, we saw some amazing sights. We did some awesome little short hikes. Of course, had a 6 and a 4-year-old at the time, so we couldn't just launch off on any big treks. But we did everything except Rocky Mountain National Forest. but we did everything around that. And
Right.
yeah, and got to see some cool stuff, and definitely want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, usually the elk are everywhere. Just walking through town, like right down the street, like that street with all the shops.
Yeah,
They just walk right down.
that's
Like,
crazy.
I'll show you some pictures.
Yeah.
Well, you had that one day. One was like right next to your truck.
Yeah. Yeah. I was worried about it ramming.
My wife would be like, "Put the gun away." I'm like, no, we can load it up. We can load it up.
Yeah.
I hear they make tomahawk ribeyes. I hear you can cut a tomahawk ribeye out of an elk. You know, the rib
Probably.
cage and everything is big enough. It's supposed to be like a very desirable cut off of an elk.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. My neighbor goes out west once a year with some friends of his and does a big hiking elk hunts. I think he does more hiking than hunting, but
Right.
I think that's how elk hunting goes, though.
Yeah. You might see Joe Rogan out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, he's living the dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
That's just like the same with fishing and golfing. I think it's mostly just to get out to drink beers, from what I understand.
I'm a golfer. I love golfing.
Oh, yeah. All right. All right.
Yeah.
My father is a big golfer. I have been to a driving range once, and that is
Oh.
my experience. But it taught me a great appreciation because
Yeah.
I hit that ball the same way, and 10 times it would go off to the left, and one time it would just
Yeah.
and I don't know what I did right, you know. So it's a lot of skill.
Now, speaking about golf, Michael, he's reached out to John Daly a couple times to try to get him on the show.
Yeah, he hasn't responded. His press crew hasn't responded either, or his manager. No luck.
You might have to have the censor button on ready with him.
Yeah, we don't censor many.
He's got I've seen him a few times on Country Club Adjacent.
Censor. It's kind of funny.
Scott, you got anything else?
I don't think so.
I think we could wrap it up. Jason?
Nope.
Been great to have you on the show. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing all your stories and just everything.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Jason.
I mean, you're just one of those guys that people should aspire to be, you know, because you got your own company and you're giving back to the veterans. And I mean, you have, you know, beautiful wife and 2 great kids, and you're, you know, studying the Bible with them. And I mean,
Well, Jason, I will take a moment to say that I would not have anything I had if it would not be for my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And I attribute everything to his grace.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it. Obviously, I think you got a company that's going somewhere. Be interesting to see where it is in a few years.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interested to see where we are next month. We've got some really, really big things happening that I can't talk about right now that have just gone down the last couple of days. And
nice.
so you guys should be seeing a lot more from us over the next 2 months. Very exciting.
Good.
Oh, that's
nice.
cool. So, everybody, we will talk to you next Thursday. See you here on the Bearded Respect for another interesting live stream. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah.
And respect the journey.
Good night.